when I got the Hispanic Guy of the Year, I was questioning it, according to them. But the people that I started being with were making infinitely more money than I was. And so I just kept working hard, and but even in those questioning days, I couldn't afford a jet plane until I went out on my own, and I couldn't afford a yacht until I went out on my own. I didn't even think about a yacht or a jet plane. And then, well, fuck, everybody got a goddamn plane. And then, unfortunately, the first one you couldn't stand up like a man in it. And those old boys, Danny, I'm telling you, you gotta be a man. Well, stand up like a man in a plane. You squat around like a goddamn. Thank God for that. Otherwise, and everybody had a fucking boat, so I guess I got to get a boat. I mean, it's like, 2-car garage, you got to have 2 cars in it, I guess. I mean, it's who you are exposed to and who you hang around with, guys. And right now, if we judged you by, the guys that you hung with, chilled with, watched the March Madness with, on the which just ended, which is the basketball championship. Who won the deal? Villanova. Now, how high did that Catholic nun team, 98-year-old, Loyola of? I don't remember. They got to the Final Four, didn't they? They did. Yeah, and they got eliminated by. Michigan. Yeah, but that little 98-year-old nun, which is their cheerleader.
I went to the tournament, so now I understand that. Now he's like the type of people he used to be.
Yeah.
I was at the Big East tournament in New York.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, but and so from this day forward, or from tonight forward, I mean when you're some of you are going to be 30 pretty soon, and some of you a couple of the younger guys are going to be 25. That's no big fucking deal. To have a big waste party and waste time, and some of you are going to be 40, and a couple of you, I don't know if anybody's going to be 50 in the short term, but so what? I mean, that Teddy, the Bulgarian brute, just had his 30 last year, and he didn't have a party, and the Bulgarians like to drink and piss and throw up and shit like the Irish. He didn't have a party. And so, I mean, time's money, guys. Time's money. And you heard virtually almost everybody that you've listened to the last week. You can always make more money, but you can't get more time. You can't get more time. And when, like I gave you the example, the guy went to India for 3 weeks. Spent a bunch of money and, brought his relatives. And now, not that he just wants the money back, but the 3 weeks. The 3 weeks. It's hard to hold these other people accountable when you don't hold yourself accountable. Oh, it's impossible. Not hard. It's almost impossible. And you need to, you must, and Dr. Joe's hard on himself. Josh, hard on themselves. Deb, hard on themselves. The Dutchman, hard on himself. The Puerto Rican, hard on himself. Jesus Christ, success leaves clues. They're all hard on themselves. They all think they should be farther, and they've all crossed the goal line, except Deb. Deb hasn't done an acquisition yet. But I mean, and if they're the more or less the cream of the crop, and they all share the view that they should be closer or have scored more points, and they're all hard on themselves, it's because they're all making themselves more accountable. And as I told you, I mean, you're going to, you'll rule the day that you came here, after the first report, and you see my comments back on it. And after the first Zoom call, and I beat the shit out of you, in front of 20 plus other people. Because, and as I've answered countless times, the reason why I'm so tough is because it works. We sweat more, so we bleed less. We sweat more in practice, so we bleed less. So you make less mistakes. You're all going to make mistakes. There's no question. I can't avoid some mistakes because I'm not sitting next, and I know you'd like me sitting right next to you when you're making the phone calls and sliding your little 3x5 cards, and then you just hand me the phone, and but that's not how it's going to be. But after your first calls, your first cold calls, and your first interviews, and remember, anchor chairman, you'll get smoother and smoother and smoother. And I equate it to the first time I ever asked anybody on a date. I remember practicing in front of the mirror, and then I saw her at my 50-year reunion, and I was stunned. I practiced to ask that woman out 50 years ago, or 52 years ago, But I practiced in front of the mirror, and I practiced the presentations. I used to practice in front of the Great Dane that's next to me up in that painting right there, Driller. And I knew he was getting bored when he finally sit down and cross his paws, and he wasn't looking at me adoringly anymore, and I knew but I used to practice. And if you really want to get better quicker, film yourself practicing. You will be stunned how poor you are. I mean, you will be fucking stunned. You will be stunned. And don't tape any of your presentations with the people. Okay, don't do that. But I mean, you tape your practice, or your girlfriend or your significant other, for those of you that have got kids old enough to listen. I used to practice when the boys were in their cribs, bassinets. I used to practice, and if I could keep them from crying when I was talking, I thought I was making progress. But I mean, practice, because perception is reality. Perception is reality, and you only have one time. And even though you're going to start low for your anchor chairman, when you get up to the final four, the final six candidates, you're only going to have one time, one shot to make your first impression on these people. And when you come in, dressed appropriately, they will take notice. And you heard several of them make the comment, and I believe you made the comment that when you come dressed and they're not dressed, all they do is make excuses. And that's all you want is a little edge. And the kid has put his dream team together before he ever got here. I met him a year ago in Florida, and I say sarcastically, well, he looks like a kid, because he is a kid, but he even looks younger. I know you think you look older, but you don't. And so how fucking hard can it be? Now, I don't know what excuses they've made why you're able to do it and to protect them so that if they don't do it or when they don't do it. It can't get more obvious, direct. You've got a guy that's been sitting here the whole week that has put his team together. And he's made some of the mistakes that we talk about, and he's been honest enough, candid enough to tell you the mistakes. Now, then you shouldn't make the same mistake, should you? You shouldn't be putting yourself in a position where they're going to cut your fucking head off like in Game of Thrones. You shouldn't. But, I mean, some will, because that's just the way not everybody will get it, just like not everybody heard every word. Even though I answered all the questions, took you from the chairman to an acquisition, 3 different kinds. More importantly, you're going to get all the templates. All the templates for everything that we've talked about, between 3 and 7 templates for each one. 3 and 7. And, but you got to use them. You got to use them. And if you don't use them, I can't help you. And for the next year, as long as we're making progress towards the goal line, you're in. But as soon as, I get 2 weekly reports that says, cunted out, almost, half of it, and then the next week cunted out 2/3 of it, then, I mean, it's, it's fait accompli, and I'll tell you that it's over. It's over, Let's not waste each other's time. And that's why we use those graphic words. I don't want no, I don't want zero, I don't want nothing. I want that because I want to make it graphically clear how you fucked it up. Graphically clear. And you will. And then, most of the time when you see so many of them, you'll snap around and you'll get with the program. You'll get with the program. Any questions? Any final questions? Who's my 5:30 today? It's not 5. Who's my 5:30? Who's my 6:30? Okay, wake up. It's all right. Okay. Everybody's got their kilts, shoes.
I thought we were meeting at 6.
No. Because we're going to do some filming for half an hour. And then so instead of my 5 is at 5:30 now, my 6 is at 6:30. And then so the drinks are starting when?
6.
Okay, no. You can still have drinks. It's just that the last appointment I'm having, and I won't be there by then. Yeah. And fashion. Well, I don't know. Sally, I didn't really I still don't understand being fashionably late, but women understand being fashionably late. It's just late to me. Where I come from. Remember, where's the picture of me? Up there in the barrio, there wasn't much fashion. So you were, and if you were late, you normally got smacked by your mother, mostly your mother. Any yes, sir.
Just wondering about the thumb.
You were wondering.
Yeah, because obviously.
The thumb drive. The thumb drives. Did we put them? Are they done?
When they get back to their rooms.
They're back in you. Okay. And don't come up to me during tonight that you lost your thumb drive. Do us both a fucking favor. Like that kid I allegedly choked at the University of Florida, which I didn't choke. I mean, we may have somebody I'm choking tonight. They get their thumb drive. What else do they get? The book? The book. And don't tell me you lost the book.
Bottle of whiskey, though.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, there's a bottle of Guthrie whiskey. There is, yes. It's funny who asks,
If we lose the bottle of whiskey, do we get it?
No, no. You gotta. If you drink the bottle of whiskey, you get another. Okay. Now it's not a coincidence, And so I know it's just it's just a coincidence that the twos of you are asking those kind of. If we only had a third Irish person here, I mean it would have been great.
Is the rule not to drink only open the whiskey when you've done your first?
No. That's what some of the guys. But I mean,
that's why you get the deal done so quick.
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't. Yeah. In fact, we're coming up with a new label, and it's going to be. And Sally's. Haven't you been working on the label, Kat, with Sally?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to get. It's going to be coming out later this year. We're going to get a new label, and but the. And any other questions? Yes, sir.
The Big Four.
Big Four. Those are accountants. They're not the fat girls you go out with. No, the big. Actually, there's a metaphor there. Only you and I know. Only you and I know what we're talking about, don't we? Okay. What about the Big Four? What about?
Do they have offices in India?
Absolutely. Even in Goa. I still can't believe that I didn't know that Goa wasn't part of the British Empire. I mean, I didn't realize that. There was somebody else that I learned something from. I learned maybe one fact from every seminar. So I've learned, but there was something else one of you told me that I somehow didn't know. And it was good to have the military guys that I could poke fun of, mostly the naval guy. But the Navy's always been easy to poke fun at for centuries. That's just the way it is. But vis-a-vis you guys being successful, just remember, Britain used to rule 2/3 of the planet with something called gunboat diplomacy. They saw it, they took it. That's what I want you to go out there. You see it, you take it, because you deserve it. Your expectations have to be higher than they were when you walked in the door here. The bar has to be higher because now you see the possibilities. You know, you were talking about you've never seen this kind of thing before, and he's been around a million years. You know, and he did an SBA loan back in the day. I mean, because now you know that of all the tools in the financial orchestra, you only need to use one. And you've been listening to the podcasts, etc., about all this other shite, and you don't need it. And even the spreadsheeters, spreadsheeters, you know, you're going to have a lot of spare time on your hands because now you're going to be out there drinking your whiskey and looking for deals, drinking your whiskey and looking for money because the money's out there. Any other questions, guys? Okay, thank you. Bye-bye, YouTube. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now go out and kill them. Go out and kill them. Kill them, kill them, kill them.
Yes.
Bye-bye, YouTube. Thanks.